Ask getirmesen Goras.
What else, Your Highness?
I need the black ass skirt. What do you want me to do?
Go get it. Why are you standing on there?
Right, yes, I.
And your voices are now heard. Hello everyone.
Hello. We are here. Hello, good to be here. Welcome back to the dojo. It's been a while, but it's nice to be back. We are here. I'm here with Nutella. I'm the Filthy Spaniard. Before I should say that about who I am first. I'm
I
the Filthy
think they
Spaniard.
know.
Yeah, they know. But otherwise, it's good to remind them anyway. And we've got Nutella here with us,
Yeah, hi.
and Normie is here as well, paying full attention, I think.
Playing different game.
But
He is here for moral support. I'm playing Elden Ring in the booth.
I'm fighting Fire Giant.
he's a zoomer, so he can do multiple things at once, whereas my single track boomer mind can barely do one thing at a time.
Yeah,
And I think Freeze might be joining us later. And I didn't speak. I messaged Blitz earlier, so I'm going to see if I can ping Blitz.
Oh,
Yeah,
a party then. All right, let's swap the screen over to Forerunner. Yep.
All right, so we are gonna. So the new season, as you can see by the main mini screen, has started. It's year 6, season 4. What do they call it? Shattered Fate, I think, is the name of the season. We've got some Arabian hero by looks things, or Arabian themed, and there's been a patch with a bunch of changes. So I will start off. We'll start off with the ones which have been. We'll start off with the knights. I'll go Centurion. You can go Lawbringer. So these are some. So well, okay. The main changes of the season so far are Tiandi and Valkyrie have got their reworks that were in the testing ground last season, and they're now live. And then there are a bunch of other smaller changes to other characters, and some including some buffs, but also some nerfs. So we're going to go through those and the relevance of those changes before we go to talk about the reworks. We'll try and be speedy with it. So we're going to start off with we're just going to jump straight in with Centurion. So, all right, what have been the changes to Centurion? Well, grab my controller. First thing is that now every time you could do a jab on if something hit or was blocked, you can now do it from whiff. So I can whiff that. I can whiff a finisher. And then I can go into my jab and so on. So that's a nice change. It means that it does mean that his finishes are a little bit safer in team fights because you can go for a pin and then you can protect your recovery by charging into a jab. Doesn't make a huge amount of difference for 1v1s, although I imagine you probably can't dodge GB. If I go like heavy, fully charged heavy, you probably can't dodge GB. That will give it a test, shall we? I'm an idiot. I pressed the wrong thing. You're dodging the finisher, which will be fully charged. Um, oh yeah, and try to GB the recovery. I guess is the story, but oh well, there we go. Okay, you can still GB it. Well, fair enough. You'll catch the starter with a punch, but it's going to make it a little bit safer, at least if they're slow on if your opponent's slow on the uptake. But as you probably also noticed from that, the timings of the jab have also changed, and this is a very mixed bag for Centurion. Part the thinking is, well, the idea was that you would be able to cover two different charging times. So now it's 100 ms faster at the faster speed and 200 ms slower at the slowest speed. The idea being that it now doesn't have a single dodge timing, although which is true from just regular dodges off heavy hit stun and heavy block stun, and I'm not sure about the pin actually, but something that has changed. The problem with that is that we'll see now the double-edged sword of this buff is that you can dodge after light hit stun, which is after like a light opener or a chain light. Let's say if I kick into light, Nutella can dodge my level 1 jab and also dodge the fully charged jab immediately afterwards. So you have to buffer the dodge, but if you dodge early enough after after being hit, There we go. So that is pretty massively problematic for Centurion, to be honest. And it's not the only thing that's problematic with this. They haven't changed the hyperarmor timings either. So it used to be that you could interrupt the fully charged jab after a light opener, but now you can always interrupt it. So even if I heavy and then go for a, yeah, that's just going to happen all the time. The very annoying thing is that, oh yeah, you can even trade with a heavy with it, but I think you could trade with a heavy after in beforehand anyway, at least after the light hit's done. Yeah, can you trade with a heavy after the heavy hit's done? Yeah. So, I mean, it means 6 damage difference for the Centurion, and he's only got 120 health anyway, so it's not great. What it has changed, which I guess are 2 little benefits, is that because the main thing is faster now, he can now get the fastest jab confirmed for heavy parry. So after that and a knee, that's confirmed, and so you get that into a light. I'm an idiot, sorry. Which isn't any more damage in 1v1s. It does a bit more stamina damage, but it does do 22 damage in 4s, because if you have Haymaker on. And also now, because it's faster, again, we've not put great characters to demonstrate this, but you can't side dodge GB after any form of heavy hit stun and the fastest version of jab. So I can always counter that. I think after light hit stun, you can still. Yeah, there we go. But after I think after pins as well. Oh no, I'm an idiot. I'll do it after a pin. Yeah. So basically the faster version of it is a buff, but the slower version is almost certainly a nerf. And really, we can't show it with these characters, but if you delay some dodge attacks, you can still dodge on the early timing and delay your dodge attack to avoid the fully charged one. I don't think LB's can do it with his shove, 'cause I don't think his shove got any iframes, but we can try. I mean, of course, yeah.
I mean,
well, you
LB
can-
just wins because of shove.
Yeah, so that's. But if you're using Aramusha or Kensei quite easily can delay his dodge and avoid that. So, and final thing, because it's slower, some of the gank timings don't work anymore. We can't display that with just the 2 of us, unless was that Freeze joining us or?
Yes.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hello, Freeze. Hello. Well, if you wanted to, you could demonstrate some ganks, but to be honest, just take our words for it. The ganks are a little bit harder to do now because the jab is 200 ms slower than it was beforehand. Although that is only 100 ms slower than it was pre-season 3 when it got buffed to 1300 ms. So really, I mean, keeping the faster jab is kind of fine, although it being safe from guard break on one kind of hit stun is probably a little bit confusing for players and a bit weird.
You gotta talk about the confirmed 22 damage on heavy parry.
Yeah, I mentioned that. Yeah,
Nice.
and obviously that's I feel like, to be honest, this set of changes for Centurion is really other than the jab on whiff, which is very nice, definitely wrong. Not great set of changes.
I can get really emotional about Sent right about now, but I'll spare you. Because there's basically all negatives really.
Yeah, they're all. This is it's not a good set of changes for Centurion, unfortunately. But I mean, at least they're trying to do it. But I think what they need to do is change the tracking of the fully charged punch. Freeze has an old video from immediately after his first rework. The chain punch, which was the punch after heavies, after chain heavy, that one had better tracking. And that it still has that got changed and it still has
Yeah.
bad tracking. So it used to be able
It
to
was
catch roll.
kind of bonkers though. Like
It
that,
was very good. Probably
that was really
arguably
good.
good.
What was the
But-
problem with bad tracking? Because ever since his sponge got sped up to 800 or whatever it was, I have never had a single tracking problem, which is what I'm question marking about?
Oh, well, I mean, it's probably because dodge attacks. You could dodge them one time, dodge early, and then delay a dodge, and it would miss and hit you in the
Yeah,
high
but
roll.
you can't do that on reaction. So it's just making a read on them dodge attacking and feinting to parry,
Yeah,
which is
yeah,
already a thing and will still be a thing regardless of the tracking.
fair enough. I mean, I think it was the case that some of them just even buffered would avoid both things, and that's probably what was annoying players. Oh well,
Learn to
we'll
use
see.
the character, please.
Yeah, I still think they should just make it 100 ms faster, fix the tracking to back how it was, and I don't know what to do about the fastest one. Anyway, Nutella is now demonstrating the Lawbringer changes. So as you can see, the forward dodge bash is a lot faster, and so is the side dodge bash. They are 500 and 533. They're the same speed as Conks, but the recovery has been increased. So now I can dodge and guard break a lot more reliably, or I can dodge attack as well. So it's a mixed bag of for Lawbringer. It also affects the chain bash as well. So if you do like I don't think I can, because you're in heavy hit stun. I don't think you can. Yeah, it's sort of pseudo undodgeable with the lights. Try with heavy hit stun as well. I'll see if you can. Yeah, I'm just gonna see if I buffer a dodge after that, if I can get a guard break on it. I don't know yet.
You
No.
plan to get hit?
Oh, block stun's less than hit stun, so well, the same. Either's fine. Sorry, I was saying hit stun, but yeah, okay, it's still safe from GB and chain, but from the dodges, it's easier as GB. Of course, it being faster means it's more likely to hit things in chain. We've already seen that against Centurion's charge jab. I think previously, it's hard to say with the timing change on both of them. If you dodged and bash, you'd get hit by the fully charged punch. Now it will interrupt. But also from forward dodge, it is a lot better offensively. It's the sort of standard timings from 300 to 500 ms into the forward dodge. So in that sense, it's a bit like Centurion's kick. But as Nutella is demonstrating here, Lawbringer has really low recovery on forward dodge. It's only 400 milliseconds. So you can mix up between the shove, or you can mix up between the sort of a heavy or a light at the same time, and you can feint a heavy into. You can either just let it go, which will catch dodges if they're not on the right timing, or you can feint to guard break and catch as well. If I'm a bit faster than that, I think I'm dodging. I'm really early dodging, so I'm not always the very best to demonstrate these kind of things with, because I suck at the game. Oh. Anyway, I was testing this with Blitz just the other day, and despite it being a 500 ms bash, he was finding it not easy to react to when mixed up with the heavies. And well, lights are kind of pointless to mix up with it because you can dodge them on the same timing. But if you mix up all the different timings of the bash and empty dodge and the feint to heavy, this is actually a fairly effective mix up. And Blitz said it was harder to react to than Shinobi's forward dodge kick and heavy mix up, but easier than Janhu's. So Lawbringer has got a sort of a double-edged sword again, in a really big buff to his offense and a buff and a nerf to his defense. So yeah, what's the consensus on the character is going to be a very good duelist now, and possibly worthwhile in team fights as well.
Let us show off Gladiator. And
Yeah. Okay, you're a gladiator then. I will go. Who's going? I'll go Nusha in that case, and then the other ones have got just sort of numbersy type tweaks.
huge
Like a
Nusha
emo Nusha.
change.
Well, I mean, it's just the wasn't it? So probably should have gone Peacekeeper, or just scrolling down the list.
Isn't that one of the most requested ones, though?
Nusha, yes, it is one of the most requested ones. People have been asking for
It's
Nusha's
a-
deflect to not be garbage for a very, very long time, and it's now not garbage, just not fantastic either. It's
I don't
now
understand how it's the most requested when there's only one Nuxia player, but
well, I think the thing is what it is with the community, that people have a tendency to focus on figureheads of things they consider bad, even without actually playing them. So people complain about Nusha, People complain about Nusha all the time, but hardly anybody plays her, so you know. Anyway, sorry, just drinking
It's
tea.
crazy how her deflect is the lowest damage along with Shaolin, but Shaolin says
Yeah, I
way
was
better
about to bring that
properties.
up
Yeah.
because people are now complaining now that it's unblockable. Now it's what? It's not didn't retain the damage. Like what? Why? Like you guys mental.
I am so bad at this game. Oh my god. Anyway, as you can see, it's 20 damage, so that's lower damage than most deflects. It's the same as Shaolin's. It's lower than. It's more than.
It's the lowest, is it not?
Well, yeah, because Orochi gets the 18, but then he confirms a 4 damage light. Something that she does have though is she does have slip through. So if you have your tier 3 up in a 44 match, this is actually going to do quite a lot of damage, and I expect that is why they kept the damage on the low side of things. Although I would have at least put it to 22 myself if I'd been in charge of things, but that's all good. Anyway, so saying that the blockable aspect didn't matter 90% of the time. Well, it was useless in team fights because you could externally block it. So it is lower damage, but I don't know. It's more consistent now anyway. Something to note is you can still change direction of it. So, oh my god. I did top anyway, didn't I?
You can't buff for the dodge attack anymore because of the 100 MS buff.
There we go. Okay.
Oh, is it a Shaolin effect then?
Yes, it's the exact same as Shaolin.
Ah.
So you can still switch directions of it, which is useful in the cases pretty much if you deflect. You don't have to do it anymore. Deflect Lawbringer zone, you can parry it afterwards. The other change she's got is her forward dodge light is now you can come out much earlier and much later, and it's also enhanced. So if you can carry on chaining on block, which is nice, I guess. And it's the same applies to the side dodge lights. They're also enhanced and carry on chaining block. What is good about this is because it's medium block hit stun, you can't dodge her chain lights after blocking a dodge attack. So that's a chain 400 MS light, which is undodgeable, which is quite nice. Yeah. Well, Orochi does, but Orochi only gets slip through on the first hit. So I guess it's slip through on 18 instead of on 20. But yeah, it's still one of the worst deflects, but it chains into 400 MS lights. The character still needs work clearly, but I also improved her side heavy hitboxes, but
So you can hit walls faster and better.
yeah, but not her zone, which is a shame because
Yeah.
the zone looks like it should have a complete 360 hitbox, but it doesn't have at all.
Yeah.
So clearly this was a bone to be thrown for Nusha, and I'm sure that she's on the
Can
line.
I do my little anecdote here?
Go on.
Oh yeah,
Because I think I don't know, I never said it. I wanted to say it in a video like years ago. Because I think the initial concept of Nusha's zone was a 2-hitter. I think she had similar like PKs.
I mean, I think it is because it used to have a double stamina cast.
Yes.
It
Yeah.
did,
Well,
exactly.
Variety.
I've said the same thing for years as well because it looks like the first hit at 500 and then the second one, but yeah, that's not the case. All right. There we go. That is the gladiator change. You can't see because I put my stamina off, but if I put it on and then just like, all right, there we go. I mean, you still get your stamina back from getting up, but now gladiator gets a skewer, or if you don't want a skewer, you can just do a regular heavy. It's the chain heavy, so it's 30 damage. He gets off the out stamina skewer, so the out stamina toe stab, which is it's nice to have. It's the cool thing that he used to have back, but it is honestly absolutely crazy damage, especially because it's 500 MS in chain.
47 or 40 damage, 500 MS back.
Yeah, it's better than it's better in every way than Yom's.
Yeah,
bash.
it's hilarious considering
chain on
Dom is
miss.
just about to get changed as an entire character, and he just snuck this into Glad anyways. Glad that's the new
He
stamina.
doesn't really have many ways of reducing your stamina apart from the parry counter, I think. That doesn't pause stamina regeneration, so you get it back straight away. So, but I think the parry counter does still pause it for a bit. I can't actually see my UI. There we go.
It does.
So yeah, it does. But even then, don't put yourself out of stamina against a gladiator, and hope he hasn't got a friend with Ki, because yeah, it's nasty. Nutella noted that the voice line only plays on the second one of this, so he actually has the old voice line back again, but only if you do like 2 in a row. So,
Which can actually never happen in a real game. Unless you have 2 people out of stamina right next to each other. Yeah.
So, bit of a strange one for Gladiator. And I don't know if they are like experimenting with some stuff. They said they're keeping an eye on how it performs in the near future. I feel like Gladiator is probably underperforming as a character in general, and they want to do. Oh, we can't hear the game audio. Okay, so you want to.
Unlucky.
Yeah.
I
Sorry about that,
just
guys.
enabled it.
Thanks for letting us know.
Yeah.
I guess I'll go PK, and you can go someone. Yeah, or
For
we'll
Glad. You think
finish
he's
the-
going to creep up in force and
We've
in reworks?
already decided that I'm gonna be playing him in our second comp. He's
See, okay.
it's not really creep. It's more of just that toe step thing is absolutely stupid. So
I think there's no other
wasn't
way
even
to
gonna-
put it, really, because that is a 47 damage
Yeah.
bash.
Yeah, I was thinking we'd talk about the other little finish all the little changes before we talk about the reworks, but that's okay because to be honest, the rest of them don't really need demonstration. Oh yeah, the PK is the one that's like most has demonstration. I was gonna ask you to go Raider actually.
No, thank
Yeah.
you.
Oh well, then I can show the hyper armor thingy, but
a husk of a character.
That's all that I could show them, but yeah.
okay. Well, no, because I can't chain deflect those, can I?
I mean, you can also show the buff on that, but yeah.
Either way, so we talk about, as you can hear, Raider being a husk of a character. Raider has received significant damage nerfs. He's basically gone down 1 or 2 damage on almost all of his chain attacks, and more than that, his finisher zone has gone down by 4 damage. So it's 28 damage now, which is the same as Jan Hu's finishers heavies that got reduced as well, and JJ's finisher heavies, but his doesn't chain on whiff, and it's slower, and it's only from one side, and it's 20 stamina.
And it doesn't have dodge cancels.
And it's shit, and it's awful, and it's literally, why do you do this?
It can be dodgy very consistently.
Yeah,
it's
there's
considerably worse than the other 2, and it had the damage factor going for it, and now it doesn't.
Oh yeah, and it also had the stamina reduced. Yeah, honestly, I feel like Raiders did not need to be nerfed, really.
This is a nerf for Reddit.
Yeah, I mean, they're probably also seeing like overall win rate numbers, but yeah, his side heavies.
I mean, Reddit's going wild about it. They're having fucking blast because just for them, they've nerfed the hero into the ground and also removed one hero.
I
mean, they're saying that it's
damage numbers though. 24, 26, 28 on side heavies.
27, 28, and 30 on the finishers, and then
on top of
openers still 24. Well, I saw one post saying that who cares about damage numbers? They should take away his ability to feint his zone. So
that is actually so true. That is actually so true, though.
And his stamina is lower as well, so 120 stamina instead of 130. So, yeah,
I don't understand that at all, to be honest.
Who cares that I get out traded by a Kenzie?
What the fuck?
The trading character loses to Kenzie. Yeah.
Yeah, it's.
There's actually no character right now that he wins like a normal trade against, other than the character.
Yeah.
Well, no, the characters that they removed. That one had a hyper armor on.
Oh yeah, true. Pirate.
But not anymore since the character's obviously gone. So.
Anyway, let's talk about some good changes though. PK has basically had the recovery on her forward dodge and side dodge heavies massively reduced. So you are now actually frame advantage after blocking one of them, for example. Beforehand, you would get your light interrupted by the opponent. Also, the side dodge heavies, you don't think can't really dodge GB them anymore. I don't think. Yeah. And her deflect has also had its recovery reduced a lot, so you can just throw me the chain heavies and chain top heavies, and I'll see if I can deflect them.
Spaniard skill check.
Hey, I did them this time. Woo! And this isn't a recovery cancel. This is just really low recovery. Something that's to note is you actually can't dodge if you dodge attack her 4 dodge heavy. You can't. You normally can't punish it. So that makes it. Well, if you do really early, you can, or if I delay it,
I mean, it's Raider really that's getting this.
Yeah, Raider's dodge attack is pretty fast, but I mean, I think I was just messing up, to be honest. Yeah, that's like if you buff us super early, you can, but this makes it a lot safer in team fights. Blitz yesterday was telling me how he thinks that the character this is like her 4 dodge heavies have always been her strongest tool in team fights. They got very long range. And they do lots of damage because they do 20 damage on its own, but some of it's bleed, and it confirms an ally. These are much better and a big buff for her in team fights. And I guess also you're not going to be dodge GB'd, but most people parry it anyway. And they're going to be light parries eventually too, probably. So that's less of an impact. So yeah, GB recovery on forward dodge heavy is the same. Yeah, so 500s. Basically, it's LB zone levels of recovery, just about. All right, well, before we move on to the reworks, we're talking about the other few changes. I don't think we need to show them off. There's, as we were hinting, Pirate has also received heavy damage nerfs.
I don't know what this character is. I don't know what this pirate character is. No, but seriously, without that joke, it does 12 damage now. Her UB doesn't soft-feint GB.
Well, let's go from Tiandi and I'll go Tiandi and then you can go Valk. But yeah, Pirates 4 dodge heavy is now 12 damage, so it's gone 2 damage down, and her chain unblockable is 24 damage. So that's 3 damage
it
down.
Feeds 6 revenge more.
Yeah, does 30 revenge now. So
now that people they always say, "Oh, I never get revenge, but my opponents get revenge." Now they just need to want to fight pirates, and they get revenge a lot.
Yeah, because seeing skewer into pistol is 60 revenge for 29 damage.
Yeah,
and then assuming
it's
you
absurd.
also have an ally heavy, some 50 something damage is going to give you full revenge at that point, or 90 revenge.
Yeah, so it's I mean, to be fair, in terms of overall revenge to her, it's 3 revenge more than it used to do.
But it is 3 less damage as well.
So
it's 6 plus.
Yeah, it's just combined with the gunshot, you know.
Yeah, if you combine with the
They
gunshot,
nerfed that a while ago, and that's quite substantial too.
It is a nerf. I don't think it's as crazy as like everything like 6 revenge essentially on the grand scheme of 6 damage and revenge combo on the grand scheme of things. Not gigantic. The real change to this 4 dodge heavy is kind of like, I don't know why they changed that. I mean, I would be fine if they put the soft-feint GB back on it if it was still lower damage, but meh. And the other thing they've done is they've fixed the bug with her chain links so that the gunshot is now no longer confirmed if you're blocked an external heavy. So fairly big nerfs to the character, but you know, I guess everyone was complaining about them, so well done, people. I feel like they should have waited until the dodge attack TG comes through, because there's no doubt that she'll be getting a light parry version of it, and after that, things are going to be pretty.
We did it.
We did it. We removed the character from the game.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think she's removed from the game. I think that's a bit.
Is
okay,
like
we removed her from the competitive level of play. There you go.
She might not be.
No, we can remove her from anywhere above average.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, so I'm just gonna drink some tea. Nutella, you can talk about Valkyrie for a second while I drink my tea.
All right. Valkyrie got a crazy new thing. Her soft-feint shield bash is now actually a soft-feint shield stance. The bash from this is 400 MS and does 20 damage. Crazy move. The only way to realistically beat this, especially from a heavy, is to GB into a heavy. you can already see why that'd be a mistake. So this mix-up is really strong. It loses to the same amount of damage, obviously. GB is 24 versus 20. But it's a very strong mix-up, and it comes from Zone, which is a 500 MS move, meaning this has the lowest GB vol, which is probably what you're going to see most Valks doing, mixing up their Zone and Heavy, and that's just how they're going to play, because this is basically GB immune compared to the Heavy one, which, if he makes the read on, you're going to have to be a little faster than that. Yeah. I'll get GB'd out of that stance. That's if I buffer the bash, obviously. I can also sit in here if they dodge attack me and beat them. It also does a pretty high amount of stamina damage.
Yeah, it does 30 stamina damage, but it has no stamina pause. So it can put you out of stamina from low stamina quite easily. But
I mean, considering you're probably going to attack into it as well, you'll lose 12 and then go into that. It's pretty hefty.
Yeah, and I think that's something they probably overlooked and should get rid of, because they've removed the stamina damage from her finisher lights now. The side lights.
Hopefully.
Yeah. The input of this is releasing GB, so you're holding GB when you do this. So Heavy, hold GB, and then you release GB to bash.
Yeah.
You can also do it from forward GB, but no longer from backward GB. Because that'd be a bit
no, it's
crazy.
no longer. It's now what they said when they talked about this was they wanted to make it attacking whilst defending, and it's now no longer a purely defensive tool. You can't back dodge into it to stay safe. You're just going to be forward dodging to use it offensively or from a soft feint. Something you can do, like not only just mix up with that and feinting it, is if you go into it and then you can wait to see the opponent dodges and then release it on reaction to them dodging essentially and punish that. So as also demonstrated there, the sweep is now a lot faster.
Sweep is now 500 MS.
Yeah, it's 500 MS. It's confirmed on throws, actually. So I can't dodge this. It doesn't do any more damage than your regular punish, but it knocks them down, so that's nice to have in team fights.
And Valk has also had one nerf along with that. Her top lights are now 500.
Yeah. So even I can block them on reaction. And they do more damage, though, which is... Even the finisher ones, which were 500, now do 15 damage. So, people, if anything, are going to complain more about the light spam. But, well, whatever. They're also complaining that, oh, the character's not any good anymore because when you see her go, if you buffer her, you can see her go into the bash and just dodge and yeah. So that's pretty stupid of them. Of note, her chain bash, her bash soft feint, the stance bash can chain on whiff. So, if you're going to afford. Yeah, so and they're only 500 MS lights, but they're...
You can also do Heavy. This beats GB. You won't GB after or dodge attack it. Realistically, what you will do is just GB into it.
You can dodge attack it quite easily, because they're not...
I suppose,
they're not the light
ones.
But obviously, yeah, you have to... It's just... Rather than feinting to punish it, you have to just hold it, and then you punish the dodge attack that way. Yeah, so if you want to get damage against this, the most reliable way is to guard break on a read. But obviously that's a big read, because if you do that, and she just lets the heavy go, you're going to eat crap.
You probably won't see that a lot.
No.
Even during the last TG, I think I had 3 people actually GB into my heavies.
Yeah,
I do.
It is really scary, isn't it? So.
Yeah, I mean, the benefit of that is, of course, that if you're going against a Valkyrie who only, and realistically in matchmaking, many of them will just use the bash and variable timings on the bash. If against those guys, you'll land GBs. So you really have to show the Valkyrie that you know what you know against them. But yeah.
Yeah, but they can also just abuse their new 500 MS zone and do it from there, which is basically very low GB vol.
I mean, enough. Yeah, I can still use stuff.
That's just a hard read there.
It is a hard read, but then the whole thing is on a hard read. It's quite punishable on a hard read, but, you know, that's... Yeah. And I think, is there anything else left in... Oh, yeah, her shoulder pin can now stack bleed. It used to be that it...
Side one no longer confirms the top light, though.
Yes, and the side one no longer confirms the top light. Even against Ruthless guard characters, so So yeah,
That
that's
chain
like
link will slow down.
a nerf, but like it was a 33 damage punish, which I realise is still in the info hub, so I need to go and take that out.
Hmm.
Anyway, any other changes to Valkyrie which are worth noting? Stamina on zone is better. So
Sweep on throw, you've shown.
yeah, we've shown super throw. It's 500 ms in chain as well. So the running attack's an opener. Is the zone finisher an opener as well, or
No, not at all.
yeah? The zone is just the second half of the zone. That's it.
Yeah, second half of zone is for minion clear or stuffing GB. That's about it.
But no, the characters. Oh, she's got more range on her side dodge lights that go a lot further, and they're enhanced. So yeah, there you go. That's the change. You can carry on chaining after they get blocked, which seems to be the standard thing that they're doing for dodge lights, other than gladiator. Okay, on to Tiandi. So people are saying Tiandi is going to get. I don't know. I don't want to say Tiandi's going to be sacrificed. Oh, Blitz is here in chat. Hello. If you jump into voice chat, I'll drag you.
He's been in here for
He
like
literally
half
even
an hour.
commented on something.
Yeah, he's been here for like 10 minutes or so.
Oh well, hello, hi there, Blitz. How you doing?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Well, let's get started on Tiandi. Basically, the main change to him is you can now dodge cancel after everything instead of just after your openers. You can do it after finishers, after your dodge lights, after your dodge heavies, after your kick, after your new bash, which is now for forward bash. You can just do that over again. Dodge cancels on everything. Flow like water, and you really do flow like very flowing water instead of like a puddle, which I guess you used to do. As you can see, the full dodge, the palm strike is no longer on back dodge GB. It's on forward dodge GB, and it no longer chains to a special finisher heavy. It just chains to your regular finishers on all sides. So you can whiff and go into 400 ms light on any side, and of course you can dodge cancel it. So this bash is very hard to punish. It can be punished, but you're gonna have difficulty with it. I think if you dodge attack, you will hit by carry on chaining. But there we go. So very nice bash, forward dodge bash. It's not got very good range, but it does also have a mix-up with the forward dodge light, which is undodgeable. So this is, and you can chain it, of course. So you can just go back into another one. Yeah. Forward dodge light has also received an input window change for some reason. We just tested this the other day. It now only starts at 200 ms into a dodge, which means it's a lot harder to crush and counter using it. You have to do it really early on to crush and counter a top attack. So you
Is
probably
that the
can.
same as TG?
Yeah, it's 200 ms. So it's.
I was just
300
curious whether they changed it again, because we were
they
surprised when they changed it in the TG, right?
Yeah, they changed in the TG, but it is still that speed.
Okay,
What they did change in the from the TG is the forward dodge heavy used to be in the TG had a very late input window. Now the input window is the same as it was, but it is 15 damage now. So significantly lower damage. The reason for that is because his new after a heavy, you can now do a kick, which confirms a heavy, which is itself a finisher, so it doesn't go into anything. But if you delay, if you do the forward dodge heavy afterwards and just the right timing, you can confirm it off the kick. It's not easy to do because you have to you have to buffer the I'm concentrating because you have to buffer
Pretty
the
sure
forward
you
dodge
need the wall for it.
the heavy. Because if you don't delay it a little bit, it misses. I mean, if there's a wall there, you can have it usually. But they wanted to avoid a vortex situation where you can just do it over and over again. Instead, as you can see, the kick has its own special punish, which is 24 damage, 700 ms. That's down from 26, which was in the existing rounds. The kick can hard feint to GB. What am I doing? Sorry. You can hard feint it to GB, or you can hard feint it to parry a dodge attack or something. And you can now, they've re-added the ability to soft feint it into a dodge. So you can, that was terrible tracking. My God, that was pretty bad. But the old mix of the 4 dodge light or the 4 dodge heavy to trade with a dodge attack is still possible. But in addition,
Which will make more sense once a dodge TJ gets released.
Yeah, because
when that
against
awful
Valkyrie
thing
it
does.
works. Yeah, because you can she loses guard on dodges, but currently you can guard top and well, I mean, I guess you can always do that instead, but that's only 10 damage.
I mean, Assassin could deflect that if they were late, but yeah.
Yeah. The other thing about this is that, of course, you can dodge cancel it, so it is very, very safe. And that can beat a guard break. I mean, it's already, on its own, it's got low enough recovery that you can't dodge guard break it anyway, which has always been the case. But if you dodge attack it, you can avoid that dodge. Well, it does become a read, because if the Tiandi buffers the dodge cancel, you can get a guard break. And of course, you can wait and parry the dodge attack. So it's not completely unpunishable, but it is a very safe mix-up for how much damage it deals, which is, I mean, considerable. 24 damage on a GB, 24 damage on the kick. And one of those is very safe. It is not very accessible, of course. You can only get it after opener heavies or dodge attacks. Dodge heavies can get it. Oh, that's something else that's really annoying that I actually genuinely don't like about it, is that the input window to put in the punish afterwards seems very small to me, and I've missed it a lot of time. You can't really. I personally can't wait to see that I've confirmed it before I have to sort of input the heavy.
I don't know, fine to me. I don't think it needs a bigger window.
I don't know. I've noticed that, and I've seen people miss it as well. So you're gonna have to punish.
Yeah, but considering this bash already has a lot going for it, really shouldn't get any more.
Yeah.
Can we even increase it? Because if we increase it too much, it also means that the time on the floor
Yeah, exactly.
from the opponent needs to be increased as well.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it won't be guaranteed anymore.
Yeah, I'm not. I sound like I was complaining. I was just mentioning something that is a thing with
Yeah,
the character
just
with it. Yeah, it's not like it's definitely a really good tool.
If you can't tell, I'm very displeased with this bash. Because
yes,
it's a feintable bash that's immune to GB, and get GBs, has soft feint, has the dodge cancel after. It's way too many things in one tool.
It is rather overloaded. The only saving grace from it is that it's comparatively hard to access.
I think that's a bit of a cope.
I mean, I'm saying, like, I'm not saying that it's nothing. I'm just saying this is the only saving grace, as it were. It's not so easy to access, and if you do it off a zone, you are going to use all your freaking stamina to do that.
Free gen.
But yeah. Oh yeah, nice. Basically, if you want to do it off a zone, you better be even full stamina, because you ain't getting that.
Yeah, the mix-up is non-threatening when they're not on full stamina. If they're coming from zone.
Yeah, if they're coming from zone. From the regular heavies, it's not so bad. It's because it's just the heavies work. It's still not. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. The only issue is, of course, 25 before you add any damage to it, which is really kind of nuts, seeing as how much of a core part of mix-ups it is. But, you know, we've seen with the Raider stamina nerfs, people complain too much.
Maybe,
honestly,
maybe we'll get a TG about thing.
Yeah, maybe. At least
or
lower it.
Maybe if you do faint GB, it refunds you some stamina. Crazy concept. I don't know.
No stamina TG. Go.
I would love to play the game like this.
I want to see it tried at least.
I would like.
I doubt it'll ever come, but I want to try.
I would love a custom option for it.
Oh yeah, it's not in a custom option.
No, it's just for training. And dueling in this game mode is terrible.
Tiandi that I've missed. Oh, he's got better hitboxes on his site, on his heavy finishers. I mean, you can't really demonstrate it here, but that's nice for the character and team fights.
Did we test that in the TG?
No.
Because I currently can't remember, like, seeing any good hitboxes from this character.
No.
I mean, they're not good hitboxes; they're just better. I think they
I mean,
have.
they were atrocious.
His zone
were-
is still
they were so
atrocious
bad,
now,
like,
and
they
he
don't
still
feel-
has the
you-
case of hitting behind yourself. Which
Yeah.
is annoying.
Yeah, I mean, well, beforehand, I tried to do the tests for like off-target enhanced, and you generally could not hit things that you weren't locked onto with them. It was ridiculous. So that's better. Something they've changed from the testing grounds version is that side dodge heavy is now slow, and gives you plenty of time to dodge out and carry on dodging, which is nice. But it doesn't have all that great iframes. So Nutella can probably zone on reaction to seeing me do it and interrupt me. So before I can even feint, probably.
Yeah, go on. That's not even me doing it there.
Yeah.
There. Yeah.
There we go. But yeah, you lose iframes really early on this. So it's the same as it was pre-patch, and honestly, I think it could have been more like JJ's in terms of iframes and so on. I don't know, maybe if they considered tweaking some of these things. We have seen them tweaking stuff, but yeah, people think that. Well, it's chat saying here that they think that Tiandi is going to be the next character sacrifice to Reddit. Although
hope so.
I don't know, because a big difference is that
this character is literally the epitome of what Reddit hates about characters. It's literally what Orochi got killed for. He has
Yeah, but
400
Orochi-
MS lights that are 12 damage.
Yeah, but the thing is, 400 slights at 12 damage are actually, in general population, less complained about because they're 12 damage instead of 15. And if you can't react to 500 MS.
Yeah,
then you
but that's
can't
on the high side for a 400 MS light.
And the 4 dodge light is not enhanced, so. Oh, you're out of stamina. I was like, what's going on?
And I've seen like 5 of them in a row, hit in a row. The dodge lights. It's absurd.
Yeah, because the dodge lights are the only 500 MS dodge attack in the game. The others are 533.
533 was...
Yeah, no, but that was changed on purpose because it was deemed hard to react to, at least by Ubisoft.
The sides are still 533.
I'm pretty sure they are still 500 now. I thought this is the only one that hasn't changed.
Yeah, no, they're 533 still.
Okay.
They do land a lot because I don't know why people just aren't used to seeing them, but they are the same speed as Champions. I guess it's come out as 100 MS far, 100 MS the startup. But yeah, I don't think the character's going to get as nearly as much hate as Orochi because it's not enhanced, doesn't have.
Orochi's the black sheep.
Yeah, and everybody hates Orochi, and also it was the Storm Rush. He doesn't have Storm Rush, so he's not doing. Like, I think genuinely Storm Rush was people were using the mix-up as intended with Kick and Storm Rush. The dodge cancel also slightly worse, and the deflect for crushing counter window is slightly worse than for Orochi's was. So I think he's not going to be complained about as much, and the palm strike doesn't have very good range or tracking in the same way as Orochi's did.
It's a very boring rework, though, to be honest. I would rather it do get quite substantial nerfs at this point, and then reworked, or just reworked in general. It's not really a fun thing for most people to fight. It's just the 500s. Yeah, Tiandi.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I like the kick.
It's the epitome of the boring design that people have been complaining about. I don't want blue-orange. We gave you blue-orange number 3, but this one's the best so far.
Yeah, I mean, I would have liked if my old vision for him would have had, like, if you soft feint a dodge, your next dodge heavy becomes unblockable, so you could do it in chain and become unblockable and that kind of stuff. But you know, people are complaining so much about dodge attacks that unblockable. It's probably not a good thing.
The scary dodge attack.
Yeah, we've covered everything apart from there's a few more damage nerfs that we've missed. I haven't talked about. Zhanhu's finisher heavies are 28 damage. So
he still has the winner's advantage.
He does a winner's advantage. Yeah, those are gonna be like 32 with winner's advantage.
Oh, he still has the best one there.
Yeah. JJ's gets deadly, which is almost as good, I guess.
No JJ is running deadly in high level.
Yeah, I know.
There's no JJ to be located with deadly.
If you are running deadly as JJ, you're not playing JJ. I'm sorry to say. You are giving out an against all odds, which is such a huge feat.
Yeah. Kyoshin's unblockable from Kaze stance is 12 stamina, down from 20, which is nice, but still has stamina issues that character does. Warlords chain heavy finishers have hyper armor 200 ms earlier, so at 100 ms, which is kind of the standard now for hyper armor heavies, which
They
is
don't really do
nice to
much
see.
apart from beat deflex on the hero he's targeted against. Not even
Yeah.
for 4v4s, because most of the time you interact with a bash. 300 ms is really good. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean they're fast with hyper armor. It's it's not a bad change, but it's not amazing either. The other change we have is Shinobi. His parry punish now 14 damage instead of 18. So his optimal heavy parry punish on damage is to use the zone or to delay and use double light instead of the parry riposte. But then you lose the ability to use your kick or heavy mix up immediately afterwards. So you kind of trade off lower damage for more mix up potential, which is cool. So I like that. Oh yeah, the other thing with Shinobi, his dodge kicks now stun the opponent for 800 ms down from, well, they say 1100 ms in the patch notes, but maybe that's the two different measurements. I had measured them as 1200 ms in the past, so could be that actually it's 700 ms stun now, and that's basically standard. The difference that means that it's harder to confirm sickle rain off the forward dodge kick without using the ranged heavy, but because sickle rain feeds so much revenge now, that's not as important as it was pre-patch. Something that it does also mean is that it's much harder to just see the kick and have an ally confirm a heavy off it. Blitz, you're here. You can explain it better than I can.
Honey?
Explain what? What's
Yeah.
up?
Explain Shinobi's dodge kicks having lower pin duration. Why is that important?
Because when they go for it in team fights, a big thing that they would do before is that they just sit there and backflip, and it'd be very hard to punish the Shinobi, while the person would be stunned for a very long time. So allies could just kind of get heavies in, making it a very potent pin without having much risk to it. But now it's kind of just on the same level as all the other bashes if you don't do the follow up, which is a lot less safe in team fights if you want to get damage.
Yeah.
So it's a somewhat it's an okay nerf.
Yeah. So I mean, we don't know if what the consensus is overall for the character being unbanned in comp. His shooting star's feat is still busted, and so that still needs to be would be banned even if the character itself is unbanned. But I don't know. People have a sort of very polarized.
They've been looking at Shinobi hard. I'm surprised they haven't done anything about shooting stars because it's not like they don't know where the shit is busted.
Yeah, I mean, it might be in the works.
It might be
Yeah, it's
kind of fine to
clearly,
figure out because I don't think it's very easy to make it proper. I
yeah.
guess because
I get the impression that it's a very difficult thing for them to fix.
I think just replace it with
yeah, I agree, but they obviously don't want to replace things because character image, whatever the fuck.
Yeah. So who knows what all they'll do with it? Either maybe they'll make it like a multiple use single target thing, but that's kind of boring. Maybe they'll try and do something that keeps the spirit of like a spray of projectiles without having them multiple hitting. I don't know if they can change them at different time durations. So
Problem with it is that there's no, with the way it works now, there's no middle ground where it's not too strong or too weak.
yeah. Maybe they can make it like an AoE thing and it just hits like Ki or something that does like a damaging Ki or something. Just hits everybody once. They did have
shockwave or what?
Yeah, like something like that. Do you remember the scythe thing in what was the game mode with like the Draconite scythe?
The Eclipse one, the really bad
Yeah,
game
that
mode
it
with the
had like a
blisters.
cone-shaped damage thing in front of it.
I don't think you need to get that
yes,
fancy. I think you can just reduce it to literally be kunai and have ×5 usage if you want.
Well, I don't know what
that's all you realistically have
How's
to
that
do.
not busted too?
Just make it have a long window between each, but yeah.
It'd be busted, but busted in different ways. I mean, like it. I don't know.
I'd rather go against that than the shotgun that, oh, you throw a heavy at this character, unlucky, you fainted a GB and instantly died.
Yes, well, obviously they need to get rid of the fainting GB and instantly dying.
Cool
Sorry.
mechanic right there.
You guys hold the fort. Noodles is yelling for food. Food ball's turned.
In general, though, that kick nerf is a bit weird with the reason they cited. They said it ruins his gang, which doesn't. His ganks weren't based off just single kick.
I think it just nerfs his team fights, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. I think it does do something in team fight.
Yeah, team fights definitely, but they did it explicitly for ganking
Yeah,
reasons,
I
which
understand what you
is
mean.
It's
Yeah.
like
Nerf,
another
but the
nerf
reasoning
on
behind
his,
it wasn't.
all the old one-shot ganks used to use just one kick and without using the kick into
What?
Yeah, but ever since they've nerfed Sickle Rain Revenge game, you do
Well,
not.
exactly. So
do
maybe
the
they
Sickle Rain
are.
thing again.
Maybe they. I mean, currently, Sickle Rain's revenge feed seems like a band-aid patch. We've seen how much revenge they want to add on pinning moves like Pirates 1, which is 30, and Sickle Rain's feed's 55. So clearly, they it's currently feeding way more revenge than it, finger quotes, should feed, but that's because of its ability to loop, presumably. Sorry, I'm panting, so running around.
And 6-hour pin.
So
Whereas
if they fix
6-hour
that-
revenge holding pin that loops back into itself as well.
yeah, so if they can fix those aspects of it, then maybe this is in place
Like
for when they can fix those things and then reduce the revenge on it. Because currently, the revenge gain makes him. He can't really use his heavies in team fights at all because even if they just clip you, you're like full revenge from blocking them. So, yeah, it's. I don't think the character needs banning anymore, basically, in my opinion. But obviously, I don't.
He's just getting PK'd right now. Reverse PK'd, where PK keeps getting buffed every season, but it's still not making her any better because they keep buffing random shit that she doesn't need buffed or doesn't help her in any way. This with Shinobi is he keeps getting nerfed. Which is like, okay, wow, character needs nerfing, keep nerfing him, but you nerf what, like, stuff he doesn't need to get nerfed in. Like this kick thing, which is okay. You changed a very minor aspect of team fights that could have been avoided by being a bit more aware, but now that counts as a nerf. So you're like, oh, we already nerfed him a lot, and the
Yeah.
problems are still there and shit like that.
I think the issue is that some of the problems, the things that are considered problems, are some of them are things that they can't change without changing the character completely. So, double dodging, being very mobile. That's
Well,
just
change the character completely then.
yeah. Well, I mean, like yeah, they like fair enough.
I mean,
But
they're a fan of huge stamina cost. You can add the huge stamina cost back to double dodge.
does cost stamina now, doesn't
It does, but you can add the huge one back.
it?
Or go back to how he was back in season 2 and give him 90 stamina. That would work too.
Did he have 90 stamina in season 2? I
I've-
thought he had 90 health.
I thought
Yeah.
I thought he had
I was
stamina,
90
really low stam as well.
He had 90 health and 100.
Yeah, he had 90 health.
You sure he had high?
He might have been low stamina too, but yeah, initially he released with 90 HP.
Yeah, initially
Yeah.
he was supposed to be the glass cannon, but it doesn't really matter if you glass cannon when you put someone down and 2 heavies, you know?
Yeah. Well, anyway, we'll see what happens with future tournaments. I feel like the character doesn't need to be banned anymore, so
I
um,
think
We're
it's
still
just
doing
how we
testing.
how we decide to constitute a ban. Like, do we ban off like how strong they are, or do we just ban them based on like nobody wants to fight them?
Well, both. Both
yeah,
actually.
it ends up being
If a
both.
character is so unfun to play against, you will have to
So,
have them
like-
banned. Like that is a
Well,
thing
yeah,
that
but
happens
plenty
in
of
other
characters
games.
are pretty unfun to play against. Like nobody likes playing against Medjay. He's really obnoxious.
Yeah, you can
Yeah,
put forward like the reasoning why you would ban them. Medjay orbital size hitboxes, people would say, yeah, but there exists a lot more characters there. And it's not really too exclusive to him. He just has the best form of it right now, you know?
It's hard to punish because
would you say that-
his chain lights, the 500 MS ones, like none of the really fast characters can punish it because they'll just get punished for it. Just keep going.
Yeah, you can put forward a ban. I'm not saying you can't, but I'm saying Shinobi right now is banned for, well, 2 reasons. You have the whole pin looping, the ganks were incredibly annoying back when that happened. Shooting stars as well, which was why the ban even came around. People asked about shooting stars and they asked about Shinobi. And then you have the character's playstyle, especially with double dodge, is really unfun to go against.
It is, but I
Yeah.
just don't think that constitutes a ban. I think it should be based on
Yeah.
how strong they are. If
Well,
they're
I
like
mean, at the end of the
overly
day,
strong, like
that's
meta
VOs.
oppressive.
And what for Ubisoft when they do their official tournaments what they want to see, and I would hazard a guess that they don't want to see characters being banned from official tournaments because, especially ones that have like wider participation, they are not people
Yeah,
want
they
they
want
want
everyone to play whoever they want to
I
play.
don't think that they care much about that. It just reflects poorly on them.
Mm.
That's the only reason why
Yeah,
game devs don't want to
character
see
is too
anything banned
shit.
in their tournaments. It's
That-
it's not exclusive to For Honor. Like when Riot has to disable like a champion in the World Championship, they also look like fucking. How do I put it?
Is it,
Ah,
it
I
it's a
don't know.
combination of things. Like
Yeah.
it's a combination of not wanting to look bad, but also for especially for stuff which is meant to be like very accessible tournaments. So for like we didn't have a ban for the Into the Fray, the amateur
Yeah,
ones.
but this is just
And
a
yeah,
side effect that you can use as an excuse. I think it all boils down to not wanting to look incompetent.
I mean, it's also it is certainly true that a lot of players who play Shinobi really like Shinobi, and if they want to get involved in comp and they can't play their main character they really like playing, kind of sucks for them. So
I don't know.
yeah,
I didn't participate in the qualifiers for the Hero Series. You know, the very first one, because the first two qualifiers had Raider disabled. So I just said, well, I guess I'm
Funny
not
running.
I'm doing that. Yeah, I mean,
you could have
it
been the
was
one.
very justified.
You
But
would have been the one to steal those 10,000, 10 billion Polish krona or whatever it is.
yeah,
And
I would have been sitting in a castle and not.
yeah,
having
you'd
that
be the
thing,
one in
yeah.
the castle. Ah,
Yeah. Though I do
fun.
have to say the people who do love Shinobi also did jump on the character because he was so easy as well. There's a lot of people who have jumped on him because they have been carried by just how overtuned he's been post rework. So I don't think that's the best thing to focus on while people love the character post rework. Yeah.
A lot of them also.
I think
A lot
generally
of them
right
also
now
played
there's
him a
some
lot before the
there's
rework as well. Like certainly Shinobi was one of the ones that had the biggest pre-rework following, and a lot. Some of the
I
even
think that's more of a case like with Nusha where people victimize character and then get that character buffed and then don't play that character or complain about that character after the fact. Because you know when Nusha gets the rework, people who've been asked for Nusha rework on Reddit are going to turn around and say, this character's unfun to fight, etc. And the actual people who played
100%.
Nusha, who weren't probably part of the people crying about Nusha getting reworked, are going to feel
Yeah.
alienated if the rework changes are too much, or be happy.
Yeah, well, I mean that's the thing is like I was saying earlier that Nusha has become somewhat a figurehead for
I mean,
for
every
characters that have been
gaming
left
community
behind.
has this as well. Like you have this character you victimize and say needs
Yeah.
buffs, like
Yeah,
Siege, Blitz.
if it would be removed, another character would take his place.
Yeah,
Exactly,
like
yeah.
Siege had Blitz. The community was yelling buff Blitz. That was like a mantra of the community. Blitz has now become the most hated character in the game and gets constantly banned and has been constantly at the edge of nerfs because people don't like fighting him. It's a
Yeah.
What
crazy
happened
concept.
to Lawbringer, please?
I mean, if Lawbringer gets a substantial rework, because I don't think this bash is enough. A lot of Lawbringer players
Oh,
are
that's a lot of downvotes, freeze.
a lot of Lawbringer
Yeah.
players are actually saying this is a nerf, which I mean, it kind of is recoveries, but the whole fact that you have viable offense at a lower level is a
Yeah.
bit.
Oh no, the Lawbringer now has the same recovery every other character has.
Yeah.
Except your zone is still 400.
And he still has outstanding punishes that are just completely bonkers.
Yeah, and his throw is still 500 meters long for some ungodly
Yeah.
reason.
Well, I think
It's
that
just
the
a
patch
night thing.
is genuinely bugged.
I'm pretty sure they are bugged because you like stop moving, then you go back like 10 more meters as a player, and
Well,
that's not
also
even a joke.
change from where it used to
That
be.
would have been buffed since season 1 then.
No, it got way. It was a few.
It's like it's year 5, one patch just randomly changes throw
Sure.
distance. Yeah,
Yeah, definitely. Like you could, like we can go to the training ground now and look at what it.
yeah.
Like-
It visually looks wrong. Also, pick Glad because people didn't get to hear his Outstone voice line because my game was
Oh,
muted.
okay, yeah. All right, I'll pick that.
Also, to be fair, I think it is a bit harder to play Shinobi in current meta because how many characters are good now with like undodgeables and everything, like Nobu, Shao, Zanhu, Orochi to some extent. You have like Meje, who's kind of hard to deal with as well for a lot of characters.
You don't
Like-
balance. You don't justify bans or unbans based of other characters, do you?
No, I didn't say that. I just said like earlier, Nutella said that a lot of people played him because he was like easy and overtuned and didn't really have a ton of
I mean, that's
counterplay
why
or
people
anything.
initially flocked to him. Yeah.
Yeah, I
definitely.
just think that now it's kind of harder to play him.
In the current meta, sure, it might be a bit more difficult. I'd agree. Yeah, but I still think the character has that ease to him, especially with the saving grace of double dodge. A lot of people dodging too early and stuff, and then having double dodge is part of the reason they do play that character.
Man, Shinobi politics are crazy.
I don't even play the character, but I'm still arguing for his unban.
I don't care for his ban or unban as a viewer because I mainly view tournaments. I want him banned because I don't want to see him for a bit because I'm very tired of seeing him in every game before. That's my reasoning for it.
Look at that. I mean, it's just ridiculous.
Yeah,
And
with
you
Conquest
kind of
stuff.
like slide.
Yeah.
I stop at about here and then I slide an extra 2 meters. And compared to his forward throw, I mean, he's always had long throws, right?
Yeah.
But that is just you can't hit it. You can't hit with anything.
He can't either.
But that's what I mean. It's so
Also,
weird how
about an LB buff,
that
you can also
thing-
extend your forward throw.
Oh yes, true. Yeah. So even when we got full range now, you can throw and then.
Oh, can you do forward bash
Yes,
into?
yes.
That is
Yeah.
hilarious. Lul, crushing
So-
Yeah,
shit.
you can just
yeah.
bring us out. Well, their throws are for some reason. not that
Like,
well.
hold on, I'm gonna just do this on but you just see, like, at this point, it stops, and then he just slides over there. It's literally double the throw distance for whatever reason.
Also, his out of stamina punish was nerfed like a couple seasons ago.
Hmm?
He used to be able to
But-
get double top heavy into finisher light, but now he cannot do a top heavy. It has to be double side heavy into finisher light.
I think your guard
If you're
has
in
to be top
guard,
heavy.
you can.
That's
Yeah, your guard
always
has to
been
be
the
top.
thing.
That's
Well,
always
no,
been the thing.
it just doesn't work anymore. Like
Oh,
if you do
give it a shot. go
double
on then.
top or side top.
I think I've been hit by that earlier today.
Nope,
in regular,
it
but
works.
whatever.
You just have to be on top guard.
Yeah, he has been top guard.
I believe
I
at
mean,
least. Hold on.
it's a ridiculous punish.
Yeah, that works. You just have to be top guard prior. The guard swap screws you over.
Yeah. All right, should we show the voice lines for
Yeah.
put yourself out of stamina?
So the
That was
first is regular
Very
toast, and yeah, second is the old voice line. The crazy bug right there.
Yeah. Well, I hope they put it back because
I mean, the whole reason they put this toast stat back was rule of cool and not for any balance reason.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, like,
Yeah.
You also if they had it how it used to be, so it just it didn't chain, and you could just do a regular heavy afterwards. Then it would be fine. Like. Yeah, well, yeah, it's unsafe on
Oh,
opponent.
great! It's unsafe an opponent wake up if the opponent can wake up.
Yeah,
Like-
it does like 60 odd damage. No, more. It's more than 60 damage, isn't it? 70 damage.
24, 28, 14.
Yeah.
So,
70
do the maths. 28 times 2, 56.
Plus 14.
Plus 10. Sorry. 68. 60,
Yeah, almost 70 damage,
66. Yeah.
That's half of your average.
Yeah.
Yeah,
66.
heroes.
more than half of most characters' health. So, yeah. Actually, while we're all here and we're talking about, it was something that was interesting talking about these characters being the what you said, like the figurehead for complaints.
Yep.
We could talk a little bit if you wanted to about the Yorm rework that is on the horizon. Was announced in the testing in the last Warriors Den. So we don't have obviously any footage of it, and I think the testing grounds is going to be probably like third week of January,
I think they said
No,
February.
the 22nd, right?
22nd. Yeah.
We have the roadmap for it. Hold
Oh,
on,
we
I'll just
do.
get-
Okay,
yeah.
great. Well,
Next
you-
Thursday.
next Thursday, 22nd of December.
December
Yeah.
22nd. Yep.
Oh, it's over. Oh, that is okay. I thought it was going to be after the event, not during it.
No, during the event.
Well, what do you
Did
know?
you fall for that fake tweet?
I don't look at Twitter, so I doubt it.
I was posted around, so maybe.
What fake
Fair
tweet?
enough. Fair enough.
The fake tweet that I think Dog made where it said that,
Oh.
oh, we're delaying the rework to like 9 million years.
Ah,
Yeah.
yeah. I'll just say one thing, and one thing that people have got a good concern about: the heavy on GB does too much damage. Simple as. It's like you got the heavy regardless of what happened there, and then you're also getting an additional one because it happened to hit a wall, which it will because it has quite a lot of range, and walls exist.
Yeah. The problem they have.
Just to give you guys a quick rundown of what the changes to Yulm rework are. They are very extensive.
I mean, we can do the video on the we can do the stream on the teach.
Yeah, we'll
when
do
it
it
comes.
for that. But essentially, they've removed the stamina bullying aspect, and
Make them a
now
wall bully instead.
getting wall splats. So you can get longer wall splats from your heavies. You have like essentially a aimable demon ball, like one in each direction, and if it wall splat, but it wall splats, and then I confirm an opener heavy. The hammer slam is now a punish on his chain bash, which is faintable. So that, but it is still 34 damage. So it's gone down by 4 damage, but it's a faintable bash. So it's going to be, it's a, whew, yeah. Well, I don't know if I'll be able to because on the 22nd of December when it comes out, I won't be here.
It's gone on 20.
We'll probably have to do it the week after, anyways, right?
Yeah,
I think it's
there's
just
going to be
one.
Christmas and nobody's going to watch. Everybody's going to be drunk. Or,
yeah. Well, I mean,
you know.
if I do it, I'll be drunk. So, like, you know,
Especially
maybe I will. Maybe it'll be fun that way. So how long is the test? Do we have the?
Just a week. The
it's
usual
a week.
amount.
It's 29th. Ends then.
Jesus,
I think they put it in the shittiest timing possible.
Yeah, they couldn't have picked a worse time for the testing grounds.
Is it?
Gracious.
Yeah, it's
People are
29th.
home.
A
People
week.
have
and
school.
it's the week
People.
that everybody's on holiday.
Yeah, but people also have lives. I know there's terminally online people.
Sure, but you have downtime, right?
Highly unlikely. Probably.
Well,
I mean, it's
I
during
don't know, man.
holidays. It's not terrible. It's not ideal, but I don't think it's
Me going
that
home
terrible.
to see my family. In brackets, I need to bring my laptop so I can play the Yulm rework.
Yeah,
Like,
Yeah, people are
enjoying
gonna do
Christmas
that
with my
anyway.
brother in
Now I think
brackets
about it.
Warlord.
Now I think about it, that is the nicest thing they could have done. Thank you much, devs. I now have an inbuilt excuse that I have. Sorry, guys, I can't. Oh no, I can't join you guys for this.
I need to play Ferrani, guys. I need to see the new Jormungandr rework.
Game. I had to go test the Jormungandr rework. Yeah, so provisionally we're doing a dojo then. Christmas Day. Sound good for everybody?
No.
I'm messing around. We'll do it sometime during there. Probably, hold on, 27th maybe. I don't know. Yeah. Well, we'll work out something.
I mean, we're gonna.
I'll do it solo. I'll do it solo. No problem.
Yeah,
just him constantly shitting on character.
I'm gonna be high and drunk.
Yeah.
But yes, like I think what we can all agree on is the damage of the character is bonkers.
It's a
so-
cool direction, and also people are complaining about the light animation. I prefer it to the punch, but it looks really goofy as hell from the neutral pose he has.
Yeah, it does. It's not
And
great.
and people are about to say, just rework neutral pose. That requires you to rework literally every dodge, every recovery,
Yes.
neutral
Everything.
poses, the combat emotes as well.
Yeah, because every transition animation needs to change because it's a new.
Yeah, like that's the
position.
base state of a character. You're not reworking that willy-nilly, and that's basically releasing a new character. Which Yorm already is, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, they've added a bunch of everybody who's complaining about the reuse the animations. No, I don't make up anymore. They've made a good point of really pointing out all the new animations they have made.
Except
which
people have still said, even after JC said, here's a new light animation, people have even said, that's just the sped up heavy. The animation boogeyman lurks in every corner.
he's got a new animation on the chain bash, which is a kind of like a it slams you in the dick with the pommel of the axe.
I have a better idea, guys.
Yeah.
Let's complain about animation after the heavy isn't stupid game breaking.
No,
We're gonna say something about the GB heavy real quick.
Yeah.
Because the option is to nerf that one down, right?
Yep.
Was what everybody expects, and then on your GB punish, you're gonna do the knee and the light, right? Because that's gonna add up to like 24 as well. What's the neutral light on George? 14.
Well, his knee light changed into finisher
chain?
light. Yeah, it changed into
Finisher
finisher
light.
light.
Okay, fair enough. But you're still gonna have like a GB punish that's all right. But then you're going to run into the PK problem where you have players complain, oh, I never get an execution. And I think the devs are very aware of that. So we might not have the option of them settling for the knee into light as a GB punish. We might like stick with a 20. I'm just saying because
Yeah.
the executions, that's the thing that uses up all the steel reserves from players, right?
Yeah.
And if a character cannot get executions, then that player will not buy executions. And that is not something they want.
I mean,
the other option.
So this is a problem we're going to run into.
You hear that, Ubisoft? You want your money? Give me better executions.
Another option they could do is have the knee go just not confirm a light and confirm a regular heavy opener, and still have that.
pinning
They're gonna be
bash
like
off
30 damage
GB.
then, right?
That's crazy.
Just take off the damage from the knee and have it be like. I mean, it's goes to its regular GB. It'd be weird, but it's an option. I also don't think just the GB heavy on its own is.
It's regular.
Yeah.
Oh, the chain. I'm thinking about the
think
bash follow up to
Burn up
parry.
as well, I think.
Yeah, the bash follow-up is there.
Yeah, the neutral. They've moved the neutral bash from this. It's actually using the same animation as the chain bash, but it's a forward dodge one instead. People are complaining about that, but I guess it works. And you probably don't even need to use that much because you've got the enhanced attacks, so you can get your chain offense that way. I think the issue with just nerfing the GB heavy is that it still leaves the regular heavy finishers as, that into a wall splat is going to be what they've changed them down to 26, wasn't it? So it's still 50 damage, which is, and they were going a lot further.
Yep.
So
yeah, but we haven't complained about that during the, when he was really good, first CCU, TG, right? Everyone was playing George.
No,
We never heard any complaints about that then.
I mean,
the thing is they've never pushed people very far, right? It's like a foot, right? But in the TG they showed, it went almost as far as when you're like fully out of stamina.
well, no, not
If you put
that
your
far. Not that far, but yeah, it went out a decent amount.
But you also stumble. Like, if you're close to a wall, you stumble like a little bit of extra.
It's not that far off.
It's
It was
pretty
a
far
lot-
off that, but yes,
It
it
was a
was
long
more
one.
range. Definitely more range.
Definitely more range. So like, I think within here I would hit the wall. So it's going to go
No.
from being a problem that's not very often occurring, because right now they're basically only a threat if you're pressed up against the wall.
All I'm saying is, I don't think it's that big a deal on the finisher ones.
I think they're going. I think if they want to make they want to make the bash it like to be a like wall splat character, right? So they want to make the heavies from the heavy finishers wall splat a lot.
Yeah.
That's going to become
Position
more.
better Spaniard.
So I
think you also have to realize that being wall splat centric also means you're not giving your teammates anything, because if you play Nabushi, you'll know you don't get anything for a wall splat heavy from your teammate. Like kick heavy
Well,
into
on
a
Magi,
wall.
you do at least.
Even
Well, it
better,
depends
get
on
your
who you
teammate
play with, right?
No,
walls
no,
for you.
as in you're not getting
Revenge
extra
free.
damage. You're just feeding revenge for nothing.
Yeah, but depends on the character now with all the... Like, Magi can just do his staff bash after your wall splat heavy.
Yeah.
It depends on the character, but yeah, I get what you said.
Yeah,
Because people are just gonna like
which have their own
blindly
issues.
add heavies onto your wall splat.
Yeah, exactly. So it will end up feeding more revenge in practical use. Obviously, it'll set up pins, but pins are their own issue. I think we can all agree. And well, if the only real solution you can propose for that is nerf to neutral heavy, which at that point, why is the character ball split focused? Because the neutral heavy has hyper armor. That just removes the whole trade aspect of that.
I don't know. I think if the neutral heavy, as long as they're beating, as long as they're out trading.
I don't think
Like-
anyone wants a character that does a 14 damage heavy.
I'm not saying 14, right? But let's say they make the GB heavies 20, and they make the neutral heavies 20, and they make the finish heavies 25. So then you're talking like 20 for normal, and then 40 or 45 for the wall splat version.
You have
which
people
is like,
complaining when PK does how much damage are heavy? 19, 18, 20 on top actually. I
Well,
don't
18.
think that's gonna work.
I mean, I don't know. It's just a thought. Maybe they can give the heavies as a punish off like for parries, or maybe they can use the if they want to have a big light parry opponent, let you go into the chain bash straight off a parry, so you can get hammer slam off a light parry. I don't know. That seems like the kind of thing people would enjoy. And make the hammer slam like 30 damage or 28 damage.
Giving more use of hammer slam is probably not the best idea because knockdowns are hilariously overpowered in this game right now with armoring their opponents.
Hammer slam has always been one of the knockdowns that's the least problematic knockdowns because it's never had hyper armor and it's slow. And you only really get damage after it. So at least for your regular players, they don't have the patience for that and they ruin it half the time, which is why I think they made it unblockable. The hammer slam is now unblockable in the rework, or at least it was. In the testing footage showed us.
And it loses hyper. Like you said, how much do you think that actually is gonna matter? Because the animation is, I don't even know how slow it is. You think it's gonna get peeled every single time?
Yes.
Especially just opening up the George for extra damage, which means you cannot use a heavy against anybody when you're locked onto anybody on the floor, even if you're miles away.
No, seriously, that is an issue because without hyper armor, it's like a 900 MS move with a shit ton of recovery after the fact. Don't get me wrong, the person getting knocked over has the same amount of recovery, but they're eating one attack and they're back up. You're in that recovery for a very long time before you even
Should we
land
make
damage.
the input forward dodge heavy then?
Well,
or make it a normal heavy that triggers on the
forward dodge heavy already does this.
Yes, but basically, do we remove the
your
normal
regular
heavy
doing
input?
it.
We just remove that.
I think that screws up with muscle memory too much, and they don't like doing that either.
Think so?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's unlikely.
I don't know. I think it makes way more sense if it was like that. And it allows for yourself to have full control over your character and not by accident just hit the heavy because that person fell down because you didn't properly pay attention or whatever. I mean, that is not full control. But you get what I mean, right? It's, I don't know. I feel like just remove it then. If it's actually that big of a risk to your own character, just make it forward dodge heavy only.
Possibly. I don't know. Well, you also have the option. You'll be able to use your chain zone, so that gives you a bit of. Actually, it's only
not from neutral. You can't.
Yeah, you can't use neutral. That's what you mean. I don't know.
Can't use my
We'll
chain
see.
zone.
I mean, we can give this feedback on the testing ground. I think it's going to be interesting for. It's unfortunate that the damage numbers are going to be so bonkers because that's going to be the overwhelming feedback they get is that the damage nerf that it needs damage nerfs, which is fine because obviously it does. It will need damage nerfs, but you're going to miss out on some of the more subtle things, like we talk about the issue of having damage reduction on wall splats, recovery on hammer slam, which has always been terrible. I mean, it puts you frame disadvantage for Christ's sake, and you can't chain into the zone off it. Maybe that's what they need to do. Make it so you can chain into the new chain zone that he has, and then at least to be able to peel for yourself, as long as the opponent recovers fast enough that they can block it. I don't know. It's an interesting thing. Katama's mentioning the Janhu's unblockable lights. I would agree that they should be tweaked, to be honest. But what are they going to do for it, really? I think the only way to make them work as the intended mix-up is making them slower, and
I don't think you need to touch those lights, considering how his heavy works right now. They've given
Well,
up
yeah,
on the
lights are
lights.
fine.
Yeah, his lights are great tools for team fights. You don't need to touch that at all.
I mean, I think you want to have things working as intended, and they're weird.
I mean, they've given up on it working. If they didn't, then we wouldn't have the Suffink GB. That's
Exactly. Well, exactly. So maybe they can, at some point down the line, like they can maybe do something about that. Make them 700 MS and have the animations look a lot closer to the heavies, for example.
I don't see the point. You've just made a bad charged attack that takes 2 inputs instead of 1. Realistically, just right now you have 2 different functions. You have the heavy, which works for a lot of things, and then you have the light, which works in team fights really well. Like, it's ridiculously good in team fights.
Yeah, I mean, it would still be it would still be good at 700 MS, presumably.
That's 100.
That's just now.
That's
true,
133 MS more
MS,
time.
right?
It's 566 right now.
566, yeah,
it's the same argument as making a Fusion Light 600 MS. It's much slower to the point where you lose the intended use of it of catching recoveries. With
Maybe,
the unblockable, you can catch the recovery much later, and they can't parry because parry has a startup. Such and so.
We'll see. You're not using it to really punish recoveries anyway. It's a chain attack.
In a
We'll
team
see.
fight,
Looking at like we can speculate a little about what they have to, because obviously after Yorm gets his rework, they're already looking at, they've already talked about changes for Nusha, so presumably Nusha is on the line for getting changes. I don't know if Lawbringer is up for it because of these little buffs. Maybe not. Maybe they're leaving this as.
I mean, there needs to be a date for when all the nerfs come in, right?
Lawbringer.
Yeah, I'm just being a clown. It's fine.
Well, presumably, if they give him a bigger rework, a lot of the changes would be big nerfs to to remove the really annoying things like the stun and stamina damage and the heavy parry punishes being obscene. Also, what we could talk a bit about. There's some stuff to do with Tiandi's kick and how to punish it, which will be changing with when the dodge TG comes in. Because if you recall, Tiandi didn't have block his dodges in the TG, so it's gonna currently you can block some dodge attacks by dodging into them, and even if they're fast dodge attacks that you can't crush and counter, you can still block them because of his guard switch. But that's going to be changed in the dodge TG as well. So it'll work on catching his undodgeable on top will catch, but also his kick is going to be slightly easier to punish. I don't know if they don't change anything else beyond that. I mean, I guess there's also other characters that could do with like that are probably next in line for changes. Highlander is the one I think would be the main.
Shugoki.
Shut the fuck up, Toetmined. Nerf Shugoki. Don't
Don't
listen.
sneak in here and
Bro.
spread your Goki propaganda. That character's staying bad. We're nerfing him again. We gave him a new
Nerf
tier 2.
Shugoki.
I hope they. I think like while they introduce Shigoki, make his chain
I'll
finisher.
give you good buffs for Goki. You remove short tempered and you undo the damage nerfs, and wow, the character is somewhat more functional now.
It's advantage. Can't get rid of that.
Give me hyper armor on anything, sir.
I
No.
give
Shugoki
him.
was a hyper.
I gave him a
One
server
thing
mute.
that'd be really cool for Shigoki that would help a lot is if they make the chain finishers, the fully charged chain finishers, slightly faster to like I think it's 1,166 milliseconds, because then you will be able to if you dodge the headbutt, you'll get hit by the unblockable and you won't be able to parry it, which I think will be an interesting version on this sort of blue-orange mix-up, except it's orange-orange.
I got a
And
big list
I
of
finished
Shugoki
it.
changes. I made a list.
Yeah, it's like make headbutt undodgeable.
No.
All I can do is the forward dodge heavy could be feintable, so you can mix it up a little bit with headbutt. Nice.
Yeah,
Oh,
literally.
man.
Well,
Bro.
I mean-
I am.
Man, you're like you full low, please.
Man.
Shut up. Stop talking about this game. Taco wife said yes.
I don't know. It's interesting to speculate about what characters need tweaks and stuff. Yeah, right. We have been talking about
So basically, buff Shugoki, thank you.
I see.
Thank you, Toetmined. I always love your contributions. Give buff the fat man. All right. Well, thank you very much for joining us. I hope you found this useful. We'll be back to talk about the Yorm TG when at some point when the Yorm TG is happening. It will depend on all of our holiday requirements. Because
We'll
that
pick
time
the
of year.
timing when we are
I'm telling
all
you, man, I do
drunk.
it solo. No problem.
Yeah, when we're all fed up.
I don't joke.
I will attempt. I'll make sure I'm drunk for it. So it'll be
Right.
we'll be giggling and hammer slamming each other. It'll be great.
Yep.
And then after that, not sure what we'll be doing. Something that
No, I
they
lied. I don't do it alone. No, Tarkov's gonna be away by then. I don't care. I'm disappearing for 3 months.
All right.
something
Yeah.
that they mentioned in the last Warriors Den is that the Pro-Am tournaments are going to be happening in January. I think he mentioned something about the 21st of January. There will be more details about them, no doubt, closer to the time. And I imagine we'll be doing some stuff with the dojo to help you guys get involved with that. So
Yeah.
that can also be in the future. So yeah, look forward to that. I think that's everything. Thank you much for having us.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us.
All right.
Thank you, Normie, Nutella, Freeze, Blitz, and Toetmined for coming along as well.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody thanks Toetmined.
No, thank you, Toetmined. Propaganda
Bye,
spreader.
everybody.
Thank
Have
you,
a good
Toetmined.
Bye.
No, thank you.
Bye.
All right, ending stream.